Am I audible to all of you? Just write in the chat box. Okay. So just a minute, I am sharing my today's presentation slide. So as you can see on your screen, that today we are going to study three protocols which are related to the email. Email we already discussed in our last class, and in the email we came across three protocols. So we will discuss these protocols in detail in today's class. So our first protocol, which is used in the email services, is SMTP protocol, which is known as the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So basically, SMTP is the short form of Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is an application layer protocol. It is used for sending the emails efficiently and reliably over the internet. So just remember that this protocol is used for sending the emails efficiently and reliably over the internet. So these are some important points related to the SMTP. So moving to the next slide. Now there are certain characteristics of SMTP. So first one is SMTP is a push protocol. So we already discussed when we studied the computer architecture in the last session, that there are two types of uh, functions used in the stack. One is the push and the other is the pop. So basically SMTP is a push protocol. It means we are inserting the email through the SMTP protocol, and not we are deleting it. We are just inserting it. That's why it is called as the push protocol. The second point is SMTP uses TCP at the transport layer. TCP is used when we need the connection establishment is there, and after that we can transfer it. Just a minute, some more participants are waiting in the lobby, so I am just allowing them. Okay. So the third point is SMTP uses port number 25. So just in the case of HTTP, we are using the port number 80. So in the case of SMTP, we are using the port number 25. So just remember this. This type of question can be asked in the objective examination, that which port number is used for the SMTP. So just remember that SMTP uses port number 25. Now the fourth characteristic is SMTP uses persistent TCP connection. So it can send multiple emails at once. We already discussed in our last class when we study the HTTP protocol. In the last one, we already discussed that there are two types of connection: non-persistent connection and persistent connection. So basically, SMTP uses the persistent type of TCP connection. The next characteristic is SMTP is a connection oriented protocol. So all the protocols which are connection oriented basically use the TCP. So as the SMTP uses the TCP, that's why it is using the connection oriented protocol. The next point is SMTP is an in-band protocol. So in in other characterization, there are basically two types of protocol: in-band protocol and out-band protocol. So SMTP uses the in-band protocol. So the major difference between the in-band and out-band protocol is that in the case of in-band protocol, they are using the operating system of their own, and in the case of out-band protocol, they are using the protocol which resides outside of their operating system. So basically, the SMTP is follows the in-band protocol. The next point is SMTP is a stateless protocol. In other type of classification, there also are two types of protocol: stateful and stateless. So in the case of stateless protocol, they are not mm, saving the summary, or they are not saving the history. So that's why this type of protocols are called as the stateless protocol. And the protocols which are saving the history, or you can go through the history of the protocol and take all its history from there. That type of protocol is known as the stateful protocol. So SMTP follows the stateless protocol. So these are the characteristics of SMTP, and this type of question mainly asked in the 2 marks question in your RTU examination. So all of you understand it. Just remember these important characteristics of SMTP. Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. Okay. So moving to the next slide. Now the next subtopic is working of SMTP. So just remember this diagram. Here is the sender. A sender wants to send the email, and there is a receiver who receives the email. So on the sender side, you can see that there is a SMTP protocol. So this SMTP protocol is between the sender and the sender's mail server. And also you can find there is also SMTP protocol, and this SMTP protocol is between the sender's mail server and the receiver mail server, which is connected through the internet connection. So basically, we have SMTP protocol functioning at two places. First place between the sender and the sender's mail server, and the second place between the sender's mail server and the receiver's mail server. So while sending email, SMTP is used 2 times: between sender and the sender's mail server, and between the sender's mail server and the receiver's mail server. And as you can see here, from the receiver's mail server to the receiver, there is a set of other protocols which is known as the POP protocol and the or IMAP protocol. So any of these protocols you can use here in the case of receiver's mail server and the receiver. So these are the three protocols which we are using while sending the email. So SMTP is used in the two places. Just remember it. And on the receivers, and between the receivers mail server and receiver, we are using either of these two protocols, either the POP protocol or either the IMAP protocol. So these protocols we will going to discuss later in our class today. So all of you just remember this diagram, because this diagram is very important whenever a question is being asked between these protocols, or when you are explaining something about the email. So moving to the next slide. Now just remember the previous diagram. So SMTP server is always on a listening mode. As we know that there are two types of systems. One is the client, another is the server. So server is always on the listening mode. So client initiates a TCP connection with the SMTP server. SMTP server listens for a connection and initiates a connection on that port. So as we already know that the SMTP port is port number 25. So basically the server initiates the connection and give the 25 port number to the client request. So at that time the connection is established. So in order to send the email through the SMTP, first we need to establish the connection. So after that, client informs the SMTP server that it would like to send a mail. Assuming the server is okay, the client sends the mail to its mail server. Then the client mail server uses DNS, means domain name server or domain name system. So this is the topic of concern we will discuss in our later class. So the client mail server use DNS to get the IP address of receiver's mail server. Then SMTP transfers the mail from the sender's mail server to the receiver's mail server. So that is how the process of transferring the email from the SMTP will take place from the sender's mail server to the receiver's mail server. So all of you understand it? These are basically the steps of the previous diagram. How the email has been transferred from the sender's mail server to the receiver's mail server. So just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. Now the requirement of other mail protocols. So as we already discussed in the diagram, so to receive or download the email, another protocol is needed between the receiver's mail server and the receiver. So the most commonly used protocols are POP3 and IMAP. So POP3 is basically the version of the POP protocol. So we will discuss these protocols later today. So these protocols we are using at the receiver side. So these protocols are basically exist between the receiver's mail server and the receiver. So moving to the next slide. So next protocol we will going to discuss is post office protocol, which is abbreviated as POP. So it is basically it is popularly known as the POP protocol. So the important points related to this protocol is POP is the short form of post office protocol. It is an application layer protocol. It is a message access protocol. So just remember this. It is also known as the message access protocol. The next point is it enables the client to receive or download the emails from their remote mail server. So basically it is used for receiving or downloading purpose. So the POP version 3, which is known as the POP 3, is the most popularly used version. So out of all the versions of the POP, POP 3 is the most popularly used version. So just remember these points related to the POP protocol. So moving to the next slide. So the important characteristics related to the POP are, first is POP is a push protocol. So as we already discussed that SMTP is a push protocol. Now the POP is a pull protocol, because here we are receiving something and not sending something. In the case of sending something, that type of protocol is known as the push protocol, whereas in the case of receiving something, that type of protocol is known as the pull protocol. The next characteristic is POP uses TCP at the transport layer. The other characteristic is POP uses port number 110. So just remember this, POP is using the port number 110, whereas we are using the port number 25 in the case of SMTP. So we are using the port number 110 in the case of POP. The next characteristic is POP uses persistent TCP connection, which is same as that of the SMTP. The next point is POP is a connection oriented protocol. So whenever TCP comes in the picture, that type of protocol is are the example of connection oriented protocols. The POP next point is POP is an in-band protocol. So all the history of the protocol basically lies at the operating system itself. So that's why this protocol is also is an example of in-band protocol. The next point is POP is a stateful protocol. So just remember it. This is the example of stateful protocol, whereas SMTP is an example of stateless protocol. So in this case, until the mail is downloaded, as well as stateless across session. So that's why this type of protocol is known as stateful protocol, because all the history is related to the transmission has been stored here, and we can easily get that history here. That's why this type of protocol is known as the stateful protocol. So all of you understand it till now? Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. Just remember this type of characteristics related to the POP protocol. Okay. So moving to the next slide. Now, now the next topic is working of POP. So this diagram we already discussed when we study the SMTP. So here, as you can see here, POP is basically used at the receiver's end. So it is basically used between the receiver's mail server and the receiver. So the popular POP protocol version which is used is POP 3. And the so first we will going to discuss this POP 3 protocol. So moving to the next slide. So the POP 3, which is the version 3 of the POP protocol, is a simple protocol and having very limited functionalities. So in the case of POP 3 protocol, the POP 3 client is installed on the recipient system. So first, in order to use this POP 3 protocol, we need to install this POP 3 client at the recipient system. The POP 3 server is installed on the recipient mail server. So so we have two softwares. One is the POP 3 client and the other is the POP 3 server. So we need to install first this POP 3 client on the recipient system, and also we need to install this POP 3 server at the recipient mail server. So just remember this, in order to use this POP 3 client, we need to first install its two software, the POP 3 client and the POP 3 server. Now moving to the next slide. Now the working of this POP 3 protocol. So this has been discussed in the timeline. So here we have two components. One is the POP 3 server and the other is the POP 3 client. So just remember this diagram that in the first case, the POP 3 client, basically the POP 3 server needs the username from the POP 3 client. So once the POP3 client gives the username, the POP3 server checks this username in its history, and if it finds this username, then it sends the OTA signal to the POP3 client. After this, the POP3 server wants the password from the POP3 client. Then the POP3 client gives the once the server is checking that this password is OTA or not. Once this password is OTA from the server, it gives it gives the OTA message to the POP3 client, and that's how the channel is established. So this work is been done by us when we are using the email. First, we need to write the username. So basically, the server wants our username. If it is okay, then it wants the password, and if both are okay, after that the channel is established, and we can see our email inbox. So first, this type of uh, mechanism is been developed, that the server will check the username and password before entering the anyone's email inbox, and after that the client will check its inbox and will do the receiving of the email. So after that, the list of emails has been checked by the POP server, and this email and the number of email and the size of email has been returned from the server to the client. So as you can see here, and after this, the retrieval of email has been sent from the client to the server. Here we are using the POP3 client and the POP3 server, and after that the proceeding has been done from the server and the client. So first, or by using this POP3 protocol, first the connection is established, and after that the server and client will do the proceedings. So all of you understand it. Just remember this diagram. So we are explaining it in more detail in the later slide. So just remember this diagram. First, the connection establishment is there, and after that we are the server and the client exchange the emails. So this is the working of the POP3 protocol, and it is being uh, written in the words. So first, the in the first step, to establish the connection between the POP3 server and the POP3 client, the POP3 server asks for the username to the POP3 client. If the username is found to be in the POP3 server, then it sends the OTA message. As we already see in the diagram previously, it then asked for the password from the POP3 client. Then the POP3 client sent the password to the POP3 server. If the password is matched, then the POP3 server sends the OTA message and the connection is established. So first, in order to exchange the message between the client and server, the connection need to be established first, and this connection will be established when the username and the password is checked from the server, and it sends the OTA message to the client. Now the next step is, after the connection establishment, the client can see the list of mails on the POP3 mail server. In the list of mails, the user will get the email numbers and the size from the server. This we already discussed in the previous figure of then the next in the next step, out of this list the user can start and retrieval of mails. So user can do the proceedings, and in the last one, once the client retrieves all the emails from the servers, all the emails from the servers are deleted. So just remember that when the connection is closed, then the server deletes all its mail related to the connection uh, related to the client. establishment. So all of you understand the steps related to the POP3 protocol. Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. Okay. So moving to the next slide. Now there are certain advantages of using the POP protocol. So the first one is it allows the user to read the email offline. It requires an internet connection only at the time of downloading emails from the server. So you can read the email offline, but at the time of downloading email from the server, you need the internet connection. The second advantage is it provides easy and fast access to the emails as they are already stored on our PC. So it provides easy and fast access to the email. The third advantage is there is no limit on the size of the email which we receive or send. So basically, the limit on the size and email is not required while using the POP protocol. The next point is it requires less server storage space as all the emails are stored on the local machine. The next point is there is a maximum size on the mailbox, but it is limited by the size of the hard disk. So whatever size you are using your laptop or desktop, the hard disk size will be the maximum size it can stored on your mailbox. The next point is it is easy to configure and use. So that's why the POP protocol is mostly used while in the case of receiving or downloading the emails. So these are the advantages of the POP protocol. So now in the next slide, we will discuss the disadvantages of using the POP protocol. So there are obviously some of the disadvantages while using the POP protocol. So the first disadvantage is if the emails are downloaded from the server, then all the emails are deleted from the server by default. So once the connection is closed, then the emails which we download from the server are deleted from the server. So in order to get it back, first we need to establish the connection first. Now the second disadvantage is transferring the mail folder from the local machine to another machine can be difficult because many mails and the size of the mail is very bulky, so that's why in order to transfer the mail folder from the local machine to another machine is quite cumbersome. The third disadvantage is the email folder which is downloaded from the mail server can also become corrupted if we are using it in an improper way. Then that mail server folder or the email folder is can become corrupted. So security has been concerned in the case of email folder. The next point is the mails are stored on the local machine, so anyone who sits on your machine can access the email folder. So that point is also related to the security of the email folder. So these are the important disadvantages which needs to be considered by the user while using the POP protocol. Now moving on to the next slide. Now the next important protocol which we are going to discuss is the IMAP protocol. So the IMAP protocol is also known as the Internet Message Access Protocol. So this protocol is also used on the receiver side while receiving or downloading the emails. So there are certain points of the IMAP protocol. The first is IMAP is the short form of Internet Message Access Protocol. It is also an application layer protocol. it also enables the client to receive or download the email from their remote mail server. So basically it performs the same function as that of the POP protocol. So moving to the next slide. Now the characteristics of IMAP. So IMAP is a pull protocol. So just like the POP protocol, it is also an example of the pull protocol, because here also we are receiving or downloading the emails. The second point is IMAP uses the TCP at the transport layer. The third point is IMAP uses port number 143. So just remember it. We, in the case of IMAP, we are using the port number 143. Whereas in the case of POP, we are using the port number 110. Now the fourth point is IMAP uses persistent TCP connection. So this is common in both, in SMTP, POP, and IMAP. We are using the persistent TCP connection. It means we can send multiple emails at the same time from the with the use of persistent TCP connection. Now IMAP is a connection oriented protocol. So basically, with the if the protocol uses the TCP at the transport layer, then such type of protocol is using the connection oriented uh, type of protocols. The next point is IMAP is an in-band protocol. So here also the OS is doing all the functions at the local machine itself. So that's why this protocol is an example of in-band protocol. The next point is IMAP is a stateful protocol. So stateful means it saves the history of the email. So that's why this protocol is known as the stateful protocol. The last characteristic is IMAP distribute mailboxes across multiple servers. So just remember this. IMAP will distribute all the mailboxes through across multiple servers. So this is the important characteristic which is differentiated it from the POP protocol. So all of you understand it till now? Just write in the chat box so that we can proceed further. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. Now the IMAP working. So as you can see here that there are two components present. One is the IMAP client and the other is the IMAP server. So first we need to establish the TCP connection between the client and the server. And as you can see here, by default, there are two ports used by the IMAP. So port 143, uh, it is a non-encrypted IMAP port. So this port is basically dedicated to the IMAP, as this port number is non-encrypted. The other port is port 993. So this port is used when IMAP client wants to connect through IMAP securely. So port 993 is also used when the IMAP client wants more security through the connection. So port 993 is used at that time in order to increase the security feature. So just remember these two ports. So these two ports are basically assigned to IMAP by default. So moving to the next slide. Now comes the comparison between the POP and the IMAP protocol. So the first difference is POP allows you to read the email only after downloading it. The second, the in the IMAP, IMAP allows you to check the mail content before downloading. So with IMAP, you can choose to download your messages or just delete them. So this is the important difference between the POP and the IMAP protocol. The second difference is the email message is downloaded to the local computer and the copy at the server is deleted. So as the email message is already downloaded to the local server, its copy at the server can be deleted. In the case of IMAP, the email message is stored on the mail server itself. So here you need not to download the email. It is stored on the mail server itself. The third difference is the user, in the case of POP protocol, the user cannot organize mails in the mailbox of the mail server. Means here less interaction from the user. Whereas in the case of IMAP, the user can organize mails on the server. The fourth difference is in the case of POP protocol, mails can only be accessed from a single device. You can use the desktop or the laptop. So even the single device can access your mails. Whereas in the case of IMAP, mails can be accessed from multiple devices, which is the biggest advantage of using the IMAP protocol, because your mail can be accessed from multiple devices. The last point of difference between the POP and IMAP is in the case of POP, POP is a better choice for those who hardly checks their mail on any other computer. Uh, Means the persons who check their mails on their own system uh, or their own laptops or the PC. So they are much more concerned with the security feature. So POP is the better choice for those persons. Whereas IMAP is a better choice for those who frequently check their mails on other computers as well. So these are the major point of difference between the IMAP and the POP protocol. So that's it for today's class. Today we already discussed the three main protocols which are related to the email services: the SMTP protocol, the POP protocol, and the IMAP protocol. So all these protocols find its application while using the email services. So thank you very much for attending today's class. Now you can leave this meeting.